Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Hmm. I feel like I'm getting into my Jay-Z. He starts shaking his head and he's feeling the beat. Oh man, you can do it. You can do it. Tonight, it is what it is. Night number 2. We get what we get, and we don't get upset. Okay, well, I guess it's my job to get us started. It's night 85. Sorry for the long pause. I was trying to set some stuff up. I took a nap. It's the first time I've taken a nap pre-stream. A pre-stream speed nap. It's a slow night. Yeah. And I feel like I have that radio voice on your R&B station. It doesn't take much to get me up, but as of right now, I'm like, it's the quiet storm. Thanks, Jeanette. Thanks for showing up. It is what it is. Night number 2. Just randomness, hanging out, and just trying to check in. You know, like the old punching cards at work. It don't matter what you do when you're there, but you still gotta punch in. So, how was your day? It's a slow night. How was the day? From my end, I don't know. I was trying to get back to being very progressive and very direct and intentional today, and not using my emotions as really not using my emotions just to get in my way and to stop my progress. Um, Trying to turn the corner, so to speak. We'll see who comes in here, and then we could officially get started. I'm trying to work through a poll in my head, but I just don't have it. I don't have it yet. I did go to baseball practice, barely. I don't even remember being there too much. Uh, Kids' activities are really, really getting me. I've had sick kids, so them between them staying home and yeah, it's not a way to start off your week, Monday and Tuesday, but it could be worse. Your day went fast. Oh, mine surely didn't. it should. It actually felt like when I've worked for myself, I used to have the days just feel extremely long. Uh, it just seems like you could get done so much, and I don't know what that's saying. Whether or not when you don't work for yourself, you're an employee of some sorts, and I'm sure there's a good version of this, but I've never seen it. Um, when you're pretty much voluntold what to do. That's being told, and you're not really volunteering. You're voluntold. It just seems like a lot of clock watching, or you get into a routine, which makes the time pass super fast. But I've discovered there's so much more time when I'm on my own. Time to make decisions, to make mistakes, to recover from mistakes, to impress. Time to go walk when you should, go drink water when you should, hydrate, I should say. So yeah, I miss working for myself. Um, those were good times, and I only hope that the future holds whatever I needed to learn to be able to keep that consistent flow. Um, I just only hope that I could figure it out in time. Because most jobs are just, I mean, you could have a career. Career is like you having the skill and trying to apply it officially, for long term. But there isn't much that's long. Like, they kind of could change up and decide, oh, we don't need you anymore. Uh, and that's it. So it's all temporary. It's all temporary. Now your skills, things that you worked on, you worked to acquire, that's part of your ownership. So that could be permanent, at least for the duration of you and your willingness to be skilled. Spent 2 hours driving to a doctor's appointment. Ooh. I don't miss the drives. I'm not really a car person. I'm okay. I guess I'm okay in a car. But I got my license later in life. Later in life. I'm so old. I just didn't get my license when, in most places, when you're a teenager, whatever age, you can go get your permit. And no, I was well into adulthood. And if it wasn't for certain circumstance, I don't know if I would have acted on it. And it's actually, I guess there's a reason behind, which is a silly one. I was hoping that my dad could be a part of it and that he would care, And I think he cared, but I don't think he had the patience for saying, let me follow up and, see if I could help this boy out. And it wound up when I just did it on my own, everything seemed to work out. But he tried. He tried. But it's night two of It Is What It Is. At least that's what I've titled the stream. I feel like I feel like the turtle in the hare. I feel like the turtle. I have a very roundabout way to win the race, but hey, I'm still in it, right? I'm doing 100 days not to compete with anyone else but myself. You never know if you're gonna be able to get a badge here, a plaque, um, a true memory that others, will remember you for as well as yourself. First and foremost, yourself. So, for all those who went live, have gone live, streamed, posted content, I don't know how many people could say they've streamed for 100 days. So, it's as simple as that. Where this leads, I'm excited. I'm excited. Hey, Katie. Katie, welcome to It Is What It Is, night 2 with the tortoise, not the hare. I took a pre-stream nap, Katie, and I'm super energized, but you can't tell. I'm like in that morning pre-coffee energy where I just need something to spark it. My voice is a little, see, it's the voice too. You could see it. You got this. Yeah, okay. So what's been going on? So I had a day of doing random research on foraging. We definitely had a stream where we looked up some foraging crops. I was trying to take the permaculture route with a perceived issue that I've been having. It looks like I've been really good at growing some Canadian thistle, like extremely good. And I don't really have any data as to my management practices, but you can see where I've done a pretty, well, let's not use good and bad as a metric, because I want to align with it in a way that we could understand each other, at least for now. And then what I'm going to end up doing is choke it out. So, but for now, I was just like, you know what? I end up doing, I weed in the garden. My weeding may not look exactly like others, but I was wondering if I could be super intentional about keeping the things that aren't bothersome, that are easy to maintain, and just being, even though they may not be excuse me, even though they may not be super beneficial to me, and then slowly targeting the things that need to go on a more routine basis. So then I'm not using my energy looking at the full pie, just that one slice, and managing the real issues as I see them. So I think it's Canadian thistle. I just did like a Google Lens before I came in because I wasn't home. I was outside at baseball practice. Yeah, I'm not tired. Oh, I'm tired. I'm I'm semi rested though. You know when you take like a power nap? I'm definitely semi rested where I can, brain wise, I can get through an activity in a very strong way. But it doesn't take away the fact that I know that my body knows that I'm at the end of the day. Um, but I'm actually less tired because of the nap than I have been in the previous nights. I just struggled to prepare for the stream and, um, just living real life. This is what it is when you freaking do this thing every night, which is a good thing, right? You see my love it. Uh, yeah, sorry I went so late. I know some of the peoples that come in here mixing that time up is not the best of things, but yeah, I had to do what I had to do tonight. So I was talking about thistle, and in particular, I think Canadian thistle, and I'm starting to look at, well, maybe I should start trying to eat it. What is wrong with me? So I was looking at that. I started looking at making tea with some catnip and what else? Some yarrow tea. I've grown yarrow and catnip is everywhere, um, but I've not utilized it. And they obviously do great things for your body. So I just want to start exploring more with that, and I'll take it slow. None of it seems unsafe, but something you've never done like that. Just being very careful about the dosage, i.e., cups of tea. I think it said I think was it yarrow? It said like 2 to 3 cups, and then there's downside to it if you have too much. So this'll let me know if it tastes good. Apparently it does. Apparently it does. There's an earthy taste to it. They say eat the young part like on a bull thistle, which I have, but I don't. It's not growing tall at all because it gets hacked away like either with the lawnmower. But I used to have like 6 foot tall thistles. Like they were intimidating. Um, and sad to say, it was when I was the most of an amateur at what to do, what tool to use. I may have used like a baseball bat, like just just hacking thistle with an axe. Like it's gonna grow again. Hack it. If you cut it, it may it may stop it from seeding. I was so bad at one point. But yeah, just it's good to know. It's good to know what's around you. Um, I can't say that it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm concerned about food shortages and crises. Uh, Obviously, that's in the back of my mind, but I would have done this anyway. From a permaculture context, the what I'm trying to follow is the problem is the solution, right? So when you start looking at the problem differently, like as far as having so much thistle, well, what's in the thistle? So there's phosphorus, potassium. Um, I'm pretty sure there's magnesium. There's a bunch of nutrients. Uh, the weeds usually have a lot deeper roots than our annuals, and those deeper roots are pulling minerals that we don't usually have access to through our food or in the concentrations that we usually don't have. So, and they tell you things. What I was reading is thistle is an indicator of very fertile soil. So They poison it and get rid of it. Oh man, they must have a ton. They must have a ton. Yeah, to each his own. That P word, poison, I don't I can't speak for anyone else. The way I see it is I have a well on my property. I want things to travel from one side to the other side. And I'm very careful about what I spray, what's sitting on the property. Um, just killing things. Poison to kill. But yeah, the thistle is real. But when you become a conqueror, so look at this. Uh, when you're building in a permaculture context, you get very fundamental about certain things. Structure and access are huge. Um, the structure to support what you're trying to support and having access to it. So let's say I have like this walkway. Yeah, 50 acres. Wow. Say I have this walkway and have a lot of things spilling over into the walkway and things are growing into the walkway. And say it's like thistle. So it isn't going to take long before that thistle becomes like painful. And then now it's taken away from either you walk in that way or direction or just the things immediately in that thistle's area that you're going to be thinking so much about the thistle or getting pricked. So you want to manage the access first and foremost before you think of everything else. And then obviously water comes along with that. So I looked at it the same way today. I went out there for, it doesn't take long, 10 minutes. And I'll give you a secret. I don't know if this will turn into content, but I'm working on my Asian squat at the same time. So I'm being very intentional about trying to weed in the garden, and I'm working on sitting as low as I could sit, on my feet, which they have different names for it. I call it the Asian squat. I like that name. And so I'm working on that. And so I'm being intentional about this is time to weed, and it's time to weed without bending over as much as I can, harming my back or just feeling it in muscles that I don't have to feel it in. And also not investing in some rolling cart. Carolyn, what's up? Yeah, exclamation mark. I don't have one of those in me tonight. I'm pretty simple. So I have this thistle that is connected with shouldn't say connected, but it seems to be growing pretty dense with ground ivy. And the ground ivy is it is what it is. Night 2, make the pick. That's a fact. It is what it is. Welcome, sir. So the ground ivy and the what do you call it? The thistle, they're kind of like they're doing a good job to cover the ground. And it's right under a cherry bush. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, aside from the thistle that's thistling, this is not a bad setup. So from a permaculture context, how much do I just sit back and allow it to do what it's doing and really just manage in the flower phase when it starts to, when it starts flowering, to spread its seed pod. Other than that, grow on, or I might have to figure out how to eat you. We're going to be having thistle salad, thistle stalk salad. Doesn't sound appetizing. I will tell you, Katie, how it goes. But yeah, this research, it's basic research, and it's seeded with me not looking at problems per se. And I'm watching the ground ivy, and I'm like, oh, it's growing. It actually is growing now that I'm not in there and hacking away at it. It's doing a great job to cover the ground. Thistle salad sounds good. Okay. You trying to be on my team in the zombie apocalypse, I see. Um, yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see how it is. I do think that a lot of the stuff um, that you forage for that come with instructions, that's where I think people are just like, I'm not doing all of that. Like the leaves, I mean, you would have to take off the sharp prickly stuff, but the thorns. But other than that, it's fully edible, you know. Very nutritious. So I'm out here targeting nutrition. And you know, but yeah, I've eaten amaranth, wild amaranth. Um we'll go for it. Definitely dandelions. That's an easy one. So that's what I was thinking about today, and instead of cutting the one that was hanging out with the ground ivy, I only cut, including the ground ivy, I only cut the part that was on in the walkway. And I'm gonna see if that works. To just get like a nice little dense. The ground ivy puts off this beautiful purple like flights. It looks like it doesn't even look like a carpet anymore because it's not so much of a lawn because it looks like it's growing 6 to 8 inches tall. Um, but it I don't know. It just looks inviting, and definitely as the light changes. Oh, you got wild mint? Yeah, I got mint everywhere. I've been trying to um, at least create barriers for it so that I could cultivate it better. I actually did move the peppermint that I had, and it looks like it's doing pretty good. I have that more in a container. The problem with mint for me is I don't use it as much as you would. You don't need that much. If it's based on your use, I wouldn't need but a little grow bag, a 1 gallon bag of mint. I don't use any more than that. So that stuff just spreads through its rhizomes, and yeah, it's easy to transplant. It's easy to move. I like plants. I love plants like that. Um, so I'll be looking into some herbs this week. I have a nice what do you call it, nursery, and they have like a greenhouse with just endless herbs, and I'm getting more serious about herbs. But this year, I think when it comes to the herbs, I want to I want to get I want to make my plants mature enough that I can understand like their growing habits. Katie says I don't garden at all. It was here when I moved in. Hey, Katie, it's gonna be there. It ain't. Carolyn, Carolyn, you could grow plants even if it's in a small little pot. I was working on this program, Carolyn, where I never acted on it, but when I when I was in my honeymoon phase of doing like outdoor stuff, and I had no blockers. I don't think I was working at a job. So if I wanted to take 6 hours every day to go out there and beat myself up, I could do it. I wanted to create a program when you would go to senior facilities, nursing homes, and you would just supply them with plants to encourage the people to get up and get out and just put their hands in the dirt and just to grow. And I would think that we'd be surprised that the microclimate and ecosystem and what that could bring in, and keeping people on a routine, giving them a reason to move around. That's what my father had a stroke, and that's what I kind of had hoped for him, and I think that's where. No, trust me, Carolyn, we'll have a whole workshop. Make the pic says I grew wild men outside my apartment window. Absolutely love that plant. Yeah. We'll have a whole workshop for all of the people who who think that the plants. You know what, Carolyn? It's your night. We'll do the workshop now. Can you tell me what have you tried to grow that you really wanted to grow and it didn't live? And I'm not an indoor plant guy. I don't know much about indoor plants, but just from a botanical perspective, like most plants would kind of be able to survive without us, right? Like that's how we're here. So what are you doing or not doing to make plants? And maybe you need to target plants to just. Oh, wow. We got cacti killers, huh? Yeah, but there's a disconnect in aloe plant. Carolyn, that plant is any of the plants that's in. I guess cactus fits into that as well. I'm not in that climate, but any of the plants that grow in that kind of desert climate, they retain water so well that they're usually able to be dry for a good amount of time. They just don't like you. No. Then you gotta go get a mirror, right? Go get a mirror and put the plant in the mirror with you, right? And ask the plant, mirror, mirror on the wall. Like you gotta ask the plant, what is going on? Yeah, you can't. You can't water those plants every day. It's so funny that it's not hard to solve, like the requirements of and don't get me wrong, the plant companies, they try, right? You get a little. Oh look, guys, I have a $2 bill. If you guys haven't seen one of these in a while. Ooh. Oh, it's too much light. Oh, okay. There you go. They may have like a little card on the plant for the care instructions, it may be called. That's not doing much. So it takes a little bit of research, and I think there's no excuses at this point. You make them starve. That's actually a good way. I when I got into just working with plants, I came across this one guy. He was doing more of a permaculture orchard, and he purchased thousands of trees, and his concept was, I'm not watering any of them, and whichever ones don't do well, I'm taking them out and I'm replacing them. He was really targeting the genetics. Yeah, you never see $2 bills. Yeah, I think I have a bunch of $50 in my chest too. the ones with Kennedy on it. Um, but yeah, you those instructions, they aren't really helpful over the time. So you got to get. It doesn't take much of an investment, but it does take some, right? To learn the plant. I think treat the plant like I'm not too far with this whole look the plant, get the plant, put it in the mirror. Um, it's the observation that's missing because we treat the plant like a green piece of furniture instead of seeing it as like this thing. It's really alive. There's something cellular that has needs and is working, and if it's in my house, if I decided to bring it inside or care for it, it's my responsibility because if I have it potted, it's not in an environment where it's going to be able to benefit from the balance in the soil, because that's the major difference when something's inside is that the natural process of how bacteria is operating and nutrients are cycling, that's not happening while you've potted plants. You're in control of anything that happens in that direction. So it is a responsibility, but yeah, I just think you haven't found that wanting to be observant, like every day, just look at the plant and then you kind of see growth patterns, looking for new growth. Uh, and I am still always, and I'm mainly speaking to the stuff I work with outdoors. Every day, I grill it like up and down. Like, what you doing today? I was looking at the cherries. It's hard to see because they've leafed out. It's hard to see exactly where um the cherries have put. Okay, I have to admit, I bought an aloe plant last year, so I'll give it one more try. It's lasted almost a year. I have lost a few leaves. Yeah, it wants to live. It wants to live. Have you have you done research about just the cycles of the leaves being lost, and are you just like moving it around like you said to a different spot and just seeing if it likes it? You also love spider plants. Yeah, I was trying to get into the plants that just help as far as indoor to just help with like air quality. It's something naturally that just refreshes the air. I think spider plants are in that territory. And the look of a plant is also nice. I struggle with light in my house though. Yeah, aloe plants are so awesome. Yeah, yeah, they are. Yeah, I mean, the just winging it part, I don't know how much you want it if you're just gonna wing it. Now, if you have that skill to like I've grown a skill, right? When I see a plant species or a tree species, like I'll give you an example. Most species, I shouldn't say most because I'm definitely not there yet. But if you see a species of a tree or a plant that has very hairy, either a hairy stem or has a lot of nodes, like almost like bubbly on the stem, that's an indicator that that thing once light once it lacks light in that area. So if it gets covered, it will likely root out of any part, and that's how tomatoes operate. If you take off, you know how they when the tomatoes they have like the shoots that come out the armpit, right? And if you take those off, which you should be, depending on how you're trying to train your tomato, if you're, fruit focused, if it's an indeterminate tomato, um, just, I don't know who knows this, but if it's determinate, it means that it's the size of it is determined and it's not going to continue to grow, like tall. You can top those things off and really control the bushiness of it. A indeterminate is just going to keep attempting to grow. So you will likely have to top it off. And remember, tomatoes want to grow on the ground, and anytime any part of the stem is touching ground, those nodes, the hairiness, will just automatically create roots that'll keep it on the ground. So that type of stuff, when you get to understand that type of skill, you see the pattern. And yeah, but other than that, you got to research a little bit, just a little bit, or it takes years. I don't I don't have that many years. I want to learn as much as I can, because some things I know will take years. Some things definitely will. I do have an update. Something happened that I was pretty shocked about tonight. I have not been good about collecting the eggs. It becomes a thing through, activities and tiredness, and it's one of the reasons why I have to get this pin method nailed down, because I'm leaving the chickens out, and then they put themselves away, so I'll just leave everything open. It's exposed. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell any predators. But yeah, it's exposed up until a certain point at night, and that's not what I desire. It just happens, and because we don't have, knock on wood, because we don't have many attacks, it just becomes that, like you leave it open, and the chickens are good about putting themselves away, to the point where I don't even have to do much of a count at night. Like when I come home, if I see them or I hear them when I go near the coop, that's it. And I just close the gate, start all over again the next day. So I want to say I skipped 2 days of collecting eggs. So this will be the third day of not collecting eggs. Yep, 56 in college for infotech. Got no time for studying. I'm growing food, but if you can't, just partner with somebody who does. We can't do it all. I wouldn't suggest that. I don't even think, in most cases, I don't know many of us, people say like fully sustainable. I kind of call cap on whether or not a full sustainable system is realistic. You can have a high percentage of your stuff, but you're still going to have to rely on, others and the system, in a sense, or a community that has that figured out. But yeah, so tonight is the third night, and I'll explain how I know that. I got home. It was getting dark. Jaja, what's up? I will be on a learn to play the guitar mission. It's a dream of mine. That's why I purchased the acoustic that you see over there in the back. I don't have a voice. I'm partially probably tone deaf. But hopefully, I'm very musical. if that makes sense. My father was a drummer, and I lived through music. I always have music on in my ear, and so I figured, why not? Like, and there's so much inspiration online of seeing people of all ages and cultures, and like the recent thing I've been watching is people making beats, and you'll see like someone in their 60s and they getting down making, making beats and cutting samples. Yeah, no, I'm all game for that. I agree. It's a thing where I don't have as much confidence about it, Jaja, because my the people in my house, for years when I started to sing, they would be like, "Please stop. We don't want to hear that." Yeah, you think so, make the pick. So I thought I could sing. This is not a false story. This is reality. Like when you're young and your mom or your dad or family in general, and it's like I went to an activity, and you know how all kids get a trophy. Um, I remember singing a lot when I was a kid, and my mom would always like support, be like, "Wow, you sound good." So I thought there was a point where it's not that I thought I was a good or great singer, is that I just didn't consider that I was really bad. Gotta go. So busy. All right, Jaja. Nice for stopping in, man. Uh, so I thought I could sing, and I want to say it was when I got to college. I was super aware of seeing people's reactions, and that's when I started to realize I probably don't sound the way I think I sound. But I know a ton of lyrics and a ton of songs, and I'm all over the place. I don't think there's a genre that I'm not willing to take on. So, yeah. So I was talking about the chickens, and I open up the nesting box, which I've been meaning to improve because it's not in the best of states. I over engineered um, the door, so to speak, the something that opens up, and then I dig my hand in. Yeah, death metal. I'm down with it. I'm down with it. Thanks for trying to catch me in a trap, Shadow Black. Thank you, sir. Welcome. So I open now. It's almost 7:30, maybe even 8 o'clock, and I open the nesting box, and I see Caesar. Caesar is the only hen that hatched out on this property. Uh, I've told this story, but briefly, I have a black hen that goes broody every year, and I wanted to break the broodiness. Purchase eggs, fertilized eggs from someone nearby. Out of a dozen, this one hatched. A couple of others hatched, but I think I got some killers in there because they took care of the other ones. Yeah, it was ugly. And I had this one hen, Caesar, and then I couldn't just raise one little chick, so I went and got six more because that's the minimum in New York. Um, so Caesar is really the pride, and she's the runt. It's like the story of one of those stories, like the ugly duckling, right? Like she's the only one of her species. She's a mutt. She really is, like, she's not a pure breed. She lays bluish eggs. They're kind of like blue green. Uh, and tonight, for the first time, hey, Missy. Caesar decided to go broody. Now, it's not as if I have not interacted with the hens, but I just haven't collected the eggs. So I open it up. It's 8 p.m. Why is a hen in the nesting box at this time? So I open it up and Caesar is in there, and when they get broody, and this is not, I'm not talking about humans. This is always Missy's right on time. I'm not talking about humans or females or women, but they get real sassy when when they're broody. Really sassy. So Caesar is sitting on I think a proper term is a clutch of eggs. So who knows what tomorrow holds? But for tonight, since the temperatures overnight are still cool enough, I'm thinking I could break the broodiness. But I'm super disappointed because it's only been 3 days. Well, how do I know it's been 3 days? Well, here's how I know. After, you know, Caesar was getting sassy at me, and let's just explain the sassiness if you've never encountered this. So, from a hormonal perspective, stay safe, right? From a hormonal perspective, the hen sees a clutch of eggs, and it triggers her to become the hen that will be hatching eggs out. They're not fertilized. They will not hatch. She don't know no better. So she's stuck. Her job is to, at this point, hatch something out until death do us part. Right? Literally. I did actually see a few feathers in there. So that means somebody was ripping off their feathers, trying to, keep the clutch of eggs warm, like hot enough. Hens hormones only. I don't know about that. I don't know. I try to learn from nature. And there sometimes is an overlap. I'm not saying that this has anything to do with, but they get really sassy. And what she's doing is she's protecting her clutch of eggs because, it's the beginning process. If this is the third day, she's only been in there for all of 1 to 2 days, right? She has a 21-day period at best. I don't know what kind of watch she's wearing. I don't know if she's counting the moon cycle or if she's just waiting to feel something under her starting to crack. And then that's what tells her, okay, we did our job, right? So she's protecting these eggs. So I open the thing up and she makes a sound. It sounds almost like a cat purring. It's like, brrr, brrr. And I'm like, oh man, here we go. Because she not only, and here's where, Katie, I need you to stop me. She not only gets sassy towards me, she gets sassy towards the other hens. I think I heard her say the B word. But anyway, so she gets super sassy. And what one thing I'm watching out for is that this is their first full season in this coop, and I went from 3 nesting boxes, and they were bigger boxes, to 2 nesting boxes. And it's not that the amount of hens can't be in 2 nesting boxes, but if careful now, yeah, clearly I don't learn my lesson. Um, but I don't know if I have to draw a conclusion as someone who doesn't want the situation. Now, what is bad about the broodiness beyond the sassy? What's bad about it is she may stop laying because her job switched from being out in the streets. She's not laying anymore. She's just trying to make sure she hatches out these eggs, the clutch that's there. She's also, because she's going to sit there the whole time, she's going to be preventing others from being in that nesting box. So now the whole coop's nesting situation is down to 1 available box. Like she's like the occupied bathroom sign. Like this stall is occupied. You can't be in here. So I don't want to have to break up fights. You know how the fights get. You know how the fights get. Being out. I'm just so you know, Katie. I'm intentionally doing that. I'm just teasing. I'm not trying to. I do find the overlap to be. There is overlap, and it's just people in instinct, just like a rooster in them. There's overlaps. But yeah, I'm just teasing. But yeah, to she goes straight to like, it's time to take care of the babies that haven't even come yet, and in her mechanism of taking care of the babies, it's on site with anyone. Now, during the broodiness process, since she's always inside, she may leave the eggs, the clutch, 1 time a day to go get water and a little bit of food. And while she does it, she lets everyone know, like, y'all know what it is. And she puffs up the feathers, and everyone is afraid to be near her because she has a different energy about her. Like her shit don't stink. Like it's like she's like get off me. You see me. And the other hens are like hiding. And Caesar's the small one. So but when you feeling this way, you the Dundada. You in charge. So I don't want her to stop laying. And then here's the thing. From a hormonal perspective, it could pass on to the next one, and then somebody else goes broody. So I just don't want this to be a problem. So the first thing I had to do, I had to Ike Tina Turner. No, I had to, nicely nudge the hen off the eggs. And I know how to do this now because in the past, I didn't realize how aggressive they were. But yeah, so I nudged her off and started taking egg by egg. And I'm like, how many eggs you got up in there? She was sitting on 9 eggs. And visibly, you could only see 2. And as I keep pushing her, and she like drops another one. Like her legs are flailing as I push her, but she's clutching everything like together, and she just keeps dropping the egg. She was sitting on 9 eggs, And here's how I know it's been 3 days, because she's the only um, blue or green. I don't know what. I guess it's in the green. She's a green egg layer, and there was only 3 of them. So here's what I don't understand. I know they have great vision. I don't know as far as the color blindness or whatever. I'm wondering if now, she's not a store bought, purebred species or a pure breed. He's so funny. You should watch Grandpa those break his. Oh, really? I've tried, man. I've done. That's this summer is gonna be on site, because I've done like frozen vegetables. I've tried a bunch of things. What I really want to do is just simplify it and get a AC, like some sort of a fan that kind of cools the air inside of the coop. Because that has a lot to do with it. The collecting the eggs, very simple, and the coop just being really warm. But yeah, no, I'll check that out. So, so you know a lot about the broodiness. So yeah, I push her off, and I see I take the eggs one by one. Then I go to the next box. She then tries to go, as I collected the 9 eggs. She tries to go to the next box. She tries to get over there to sit on those over there. Like, this ain't your house, Otis. Like, she was trying to get me. So I start pushing her over there, and I grabbed those. So I think I had like 15 or 16 eggs, and I was disappointed in myself, but it is what it is. When you are in a loan steading situation, you gotta be super disciplined and just be better about it, or you gotta get help. You gotta get people to help to remember to do certain things like that. And because of work, sometimes I get delayed in my plan. Not broad and broodiness, however you spell it. Yeah. No, he is not a farmer. He is in his 60s. So I got all the eggs, and then she came out of the coop. It was getting dark, and I just wanted to water like some of the plants, give them a nice water. And I said I'm gonna spray her. So I turned around and just starting with pet chickens. Oh, okay, wow. Oh. Yeah, if I was don't get me wrong, I could see them as pets. It just not now. Just not now. So I sprayed her with the hose a little bit, hoping that that'll snap her back to reality, you know. So that's the life. It's it's interesting going back and forth and always having to react to things that you see. But what I need to do is get this Lady Eve's Belfour method. I need to get that done this weekend for sure, by this weekend, so I can just have a healthier cycle of them being protected and grazing at the same time. Somebody's gonna go broody. I may need to. I was thinking about maybe just creating an additional nesting box. Um, I thought 2 would be it, but it just doesn't. It don't feel right. Maybe I just create a third nesting box. I don't think it'll take away much from the coop is not that big. It's intentional. I don't want to have more than a number. Well, I don't want to have too much more than what I have, but I could support a few more. But the more eggs, the better. So somebody got to lay. You know. so so while they're in flow, I don't expect it to be any less than what it is. So I think I need to collect them every day and be very intentional, because soon enough I'm gonna have the same ones that they start going broody, and I'm gonna just be stuck. I'm gonna be stuck with decisions to make, and it's just gonna get ugly. And yeah, I fear, oh, I don't have eggs, but that's not the big deal. It's just like I didn't sign up for that part of it, where you're not getting anything back. And I could have done a better job of just managing these cycles. The thing that I planted, or the little garden that I put in front of there, hasn't been fully solved. Um, I, just because plants, a lot of the perennials haven't come in, and the soil hasn't warmed up to a level where I can really put some good stuff out there. So that's going to start happening next week. I'm going to put some sunflowers in, and maybe some amaranth. And that was to, based on the direction of the sun, let's say the sun's coming this way, directly at me, it's really going into the coop where it's at. But I don't, that's just kind of where I have them on the property. I don't think it's a bad spot if you do something about it. So the idea is to put a lot of nice size, different canopy levels. So some yarrow, which probably tops off at like 3 feet. And then I'll get some sunflowers and kind of keep them dense. And that'll hopefully block a lot of the shade. And you know, the plants could, the chickens could get their fair share of eating that. The same as amaranth. Amaranth has a lot of seeds that they put out. So I grew some, I don't know what's the name, but it was like a pretty burgundy amaranth, and it just had a ton of seeds. So it'll keep the chickens healthier, and hopefully that'll help them to want to be in the run, because it's hot outside. It is absolutely hot. But it doesn't get easy. It doesn't get easy. I guess it can get easier. You just have to work on the systems and be better and be intentional about it. But, you know, it's all learning. And once you, like what I'm learning right now, it's weird, but the early spring is like over as of like in a week or two, because the temperatures are going to, as you all know, once it gets hot, it just doesn't turn back for some time. And the nighttime temperatures is what I'm more targeting. So we still have been getting nighttime temperatures in the high 30s or the low 40s, and a lot of your warm plants that want warm, when we get into annual gardening, that stuff wants to be warm. It doesn't want to be outside at 39 degrees. So we still like a week away from being able to have all of that stuff happy in the ground, or if there's just some seeds that were out, we'll start to see some of those seeds kind of germinate. But what I was going to say is the early spring learning that has taken place in all of my observations, the hard part about doing this is that a lot of what I learned is not applicable, or the adjustments that I can make, I can't really make them until next early spring. Potentially in the fall, but it's a different cycle. It's like the spring things are waking up, and in the fall things are going to sleep. So you can get away with doing similar activities, because there's a part of dormancy is involved in waking up and going to sleep, but they are different, right? I don't say life and death. It's just more like going to sleep and waking up. But yeah, you can't really whatever I learned, I have to store until next time around. So a whole year from now, 11 months from now, and I then get to apply those lessons again. And that's what it's been like. Um, it's just reality, you know. And then as a gardener, where I've definitely failed in years past is you have, you know, we all identify the season, but we all don't understand the growing season. Depending on you live, is going to be longer or shorter. We don't have an extremely short season, but it's short. It's not as long. You need to go to bed, Kate. I'll go to bed. I'm getting off here soon anyway. I think. Do the good night countdown. Yeah, go to bed. So yeah. Oh, thanks for fixing that. Okay. So yeah, so a lot of I guess I'm just talking through you what I need to plant for, let's say, the cool season. If I haven't already started that, or if I'm not willing to buy that, uh, I'm almost not able to do it because the cool season crops, we're in it. We're in the cool season. And the things is the shorter your growing season, things tend to happen faster. And then you just, you know, if you get good, you got to be better at figuring out how to cover stuff, doing code frames, low tunnels. And though it's cool and I know about it from a scientific standpoint, like I've done research, the practical knowledge isn't there. And I'm still working through the structure. And the point of me telling you this is that it's taken years. You know, and you every year you add one new thing and one little thing, and that little thing could be huge. This year, believe it or not, being better about my lawn care, which I'm not a grass person. I would I I don't like, if I could turn my lawn into a native library with all native low growing plants that I could cut. There, some of them edible, and I would do it. The green lawn, I could go to a golf course if I wanted to see a green lawn. All of the resources, and this is where I break off from the people who aren't there yet. They may never get there and they don't have to, but if you really dig into why we love green lawns, and you know, in the suburbs, and it makes things look so beautiful, and it does look amazing, right? I wouldn't take away from that, but it's also a monoculture, and the monoculture um, is known for killing. It's known for not being diverse and suffering from something over time, and it being super thirsty and needy. It needs nutrients, and when you go to the stores that you go to, your big box stores, in this season, and you see all the grass seed that comes out and kill all the weeds, kill the dandelions, and yeah, that's all of that is not solving a problem. You are creating a problem. You're creating your dependency on the problem. So I knew that early on, but I also tried to do this boycott that only hurts me. And the boycott is I'm gonna just not mow the lawn. I'm gonna keep it dense and thick, and it all just, I always create problems for myself. So this year, getting my lawnmower, which probably needs a name because it's not gonna have any original parts when I'm done with it. As I said, I have a vice grip on it. The vice grip is what controls the choke and the throttle. um, yeah, it's a fun thing to. It's a learning tool, right? So that's kind of how I use it. So tomorrow, the question that I had last night, I actually did purchase the full kit, and tomorrow it'll be here, and then I'll get that back up and going, and hopefully I'll be more consistent about mowing the lawn to make room for the bigger projects that I need to do. So that's that. Well, I think that's it. I don't even know how I stretched that past an hour. It is 9:85. It's simple math. Make the pick. Simple math by AJ. It's an old coworker of ours. That's the name of his, gonna be his book. Simple math. Yeah, we got 15 days, and 15 days. My wife was telling me, after I woke up from the nap, she was just like, "You gonna stream?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." She's like, is it day 85?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "That's a long time. That is a long time." I said, "Yeah, I know, I know." But I'm crawling. Maybe in the 90s, after day 90, I'll get a second or third win. But of late, what I feel like is, like I said, the tortoise and the hare, and I'm the tortoise, man. I'm just, I'm still gonna make it. Probably gonna win the race, but I'm just like, oh, we just gotta go slow. Maybe I'm the hare. Maybe I overestimated and got out to a good start and was fast and thought I was doing something. But yeah, either way, um, it's been a ride. So you know, it's been fun. Um, how about for you guys, man? Is there like I don't know how to do this, but I was thinking the other day, like, I wonder, obviously, Shadow Black, you weren't here yesterday, but I was telling Mick the Pick yesterday that my son was schooling me on, how I can make, this is my youngest, he said, I'm not following the right formula. He didn't use those words, but he basically was saying, I'm not following the right formula because I don't listen to what my subscribers say. If I want to be good at this, I can't just be talking about nothing. So, do you guys? I want to know if you guys have like a moment that you like kind of remember that we all went through, because it has been a we. But that's tonight's show, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get some content up tomorrow. Um, I hate when I go through a drought with content. As far as like a open studio update, um, the drought, you gotta be in the game to really. The algorithm is not gonna work for you if you don't have anything. Your number can't be called, right? You're not in the game. And I've watched content die, so to speak, as in it, there's no reason why it's no longer going to be, oh my God, Hey, Carolyn, you still hanging out? Oh, Carolyn gets the award. I'm glad she's number one in the chat tonight. She was on from the beginning. Um, Shadow Black says 15 days before the Shadow Black takeover, and then the screen goes dark. How'd you like that? How'd you like me now? Um, yeah, but you have to be in the game, in order to, you know, you gotta be in it. I don't know what I'm trying to say. There's some familiar words that are not coming to me, but you got to be in the game. And I just noticed one of the frustrating things is when I post content, it just kind of dies off. It does. At least it does consistent numbers for what I've done. So it's really based on me, not able to compare that to anyone else, because it's comparing it to your previous traction. And but if I posted something, what is it's today? Today's Tuesday. I guess I posted something yesterday. Yeah, I posted something. Well, we crossed over into midnight, but I posted something on Monday. I posted a short. It did pretty good. Um, it started off really good, and then it just like dipped off. And as of today, it looks like it didn't get almost any views today. So you gotta be in the game, and you gotta keep feeding it and feeding it, because your audience is just not being, you're not getting anything there. So once we get past the 100 days, when we go into the darkness of Shadow Black. Shadow Black, don't even troll me and try to do a live stream with the darkness. Be like, I'm Shadow Black and there's nothing on the screen. Carla says, it's still Tuesday here. I hear you. Um, but yeah, you post something, and then you don't get any more traction. So after the 100 days, my commitment is now gonna be, to take this monetization journey, and to really increase the quality of the story that I'm trying to bring to the internet. Not necessarily, it's not it's not an approach that's one dimensional. I think I've been given two dimensions right now. I do like the outdoor stuff, and that's more like it's IRL, but it's limited IRL because it's just I'm in the garden. I'm always home. And that's true. I am always home, and I'm always doing something at home. But that's what that is, right? That's one dimension. And then I come on here at night, and then the shorts are a mix of this, chopping this down in highlights, and that, right? This and that. And there's a couple of other lanes that I wanted to explore that just take time and cadence. And so I really am excited about what that looks like. It may be slower, but I'm hoping to have more of an impact. So that's what is to come. And like I said, maybe I could muster up some courage. And let me know what you guys think about this last idea before we go. To honor my dad, for a long time, my dad really showed me a lot about. He was a big recycle. He loved to recycle. He was a super of like this whole block. It was like 4 or 5 buildings, right? He loved being a super, not because he was the super, because he could collect everybody's recyclables and recycle them. And when my father would get me, because we didn't live together, and he would bring me to Brooklyn, that was what I was exposed to. Now I would say this: the one tool, it's not zero tools that my father worked with me. So I got to see him, and I learned that way. So just watching someone and observing, just like Carolyn with the plants, I'm just a huge observer. So I got to watch him. I got to see him push through, all these different activities, and just having thousands of tools, and it was all unorganized. And it's not that he knew where everything was. It was just, you just throw stuff everywhere like a cartoon. And so he used to recycle in a lot. And when he had this idea, I don't think he'll ever be able to accomplish it right now. It just, he's not in a state to be able to do it, and I just don't think it's realistic at this point. So I'll just share his idea. It's kind of funny. He wanted to make a vending machine truck where he would pull up to a populated place, and he expected to play music like the ice cream truck, and people would run out. This is literally animation worthy. And people would run out with their cans to the ice cream truck and put the cans in and then get their money. I don't know why this resonated with him, but I so let's just be real. He wanted to roll up to a project. He wanted to roll up to the projects with thousands of people, and this is how, because what he was always looking at, he's saying that this is free money, right? Like, cans are recyclables, at least cans and glass. Well, that's, you paid for it. You went in, you paid a deposit, and a lot of us don't claim that deposit back. I think there was a guy who showed that he ended up paying his daughter's tuition. It was all recyclables. So I have the gene in me. I don't know if it started as a baby, but I definitely have something going where I resonate with his ideology. So here's what how I wanted to kind of play this. And this is the question that I have for you guys. And it might be hard, but I think I like it. There are things that I wouldn't mind purchasing on the journey, but the journey doesn't have value to me to just dig into the pot and keep improving things, like as far as quality and things that make it easier for me to work. That's great. I can invest as a creator and just keep doing this and keep doing this. Or I can make it fun to me and make it purposeful and meaningful, which highlights more of who I am. I was thinking making all of these things into a story where I'm trying to, let's say the keyboard that I want to buy, and it's $600, right? I want to recycle. And the story is me on the recycling journey, which keeps me kind of solid and whole towards, $600, that's a lot of recyclables. But it could involve me giving effort. It could involve me putting myself out there, and it's not that it's all going to be a free service. It may cost me to do this, but I think the journey speaks to it, right? So I'm exploring it. Maybe 600 is like that. Maybe that's a little bit high. And I know, because I have been there before. One night, Me and I shouldn't say me and my cousin. Me, my cousin, and a friend. I convinced them because we were in like broke college days, and I convinced them to stay home one night, one Saturday night. And what I was plotting on was everyone drinks, so everyone in the dorm is going to have beer cans that we could then go recycle and make money, and then we'd be good for the next week. On one hand, I don't know why they listened to me. On the other hand, what a fun night. $50 later, that would mean that we collected 1,000 cans and bottles. This is one night. This is a couple hours. And we show up. we show up. I believe it was to like Walmart. And, we returned. We got out $50, but then you got to split the $50. And I didn't take a higher percentage because it was my idea. But, we turn nothing into something, and I've always been a part of that. It just makes sense, right? Like the whole money doesn't grow on trees. When I get those cherries popping off that cherry bush, and I'm probably gonna be cloning my tree. I'm gonna be grafting, and doing what they call the chili dog method, that lead farmer coin, and I'll clone that tree, and it's a fruiting tree, and we're gonna be making money for a long time because we ain't gonna be buying those cherries and the elderberries that I have. We ain't gonna be buying those because those are easy to clone as well. So money can, or at least the reduction of needing to go out and buy these things does happen. And I don't water either one of those plants. Absolutely not. Like Carolyn was saying, yeah, I don't even touch those things. Um, but yeah, we'll see. I do have to be realistic about keeping the budgets optimized. Maybe the first step is like figuring out the lighting and the green screen. But I just want to be very open and transparent. How I started, I want to continue that. And this channel, because I do think that the gaming channel makes sense. And I want to say it makes sense to start getting deeper into the permaculture stuff, and that might find itself. And I've already had this foundation, so that isn't like a new idea. And it's like, why split off all these channels? Well, when I'm having one conversation, I just feel like this is more of talking to me, talking behind the scenes, BTS. And that's why I think, that makes sense. But it doesn't mean that everything that I grow, like I feel a way about if I want to be super technical and I get into building this business and it involves building an app. Maybe the crowd that I have connected with here, that may be too technical. So, Missy says, yikes. What's the yikes? What did I do wrong, Missy? What did I say? Was I a potty mouth? But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But as long as I keep the budget tight, and now is the time. I mean, there's still a low barrier to entry. There's a lot of tools that we can buy. I could use my skills I don't want to call them carpentry skills, but I guess they are, to build a lot of things to help me along the way. But we're getting really close. Really close. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe a cigar party. I don't know. You guys let me know. 100 days. You might have to do something like, I might have to go on site. Might have to, some people that have come in here. I gotta do something. The ideas are starting to turn. I think I got something. Well, Missy, I'll wait a couple seconds for the yikes. I was talking about doing different channels when I said that. I hope that's not what that was about. But yeah, this is tonight's show. And yet another one. We did it. We did it. Sucker for love, sucker for love, sucker for love, baby. Don't be a sucker for love. That's my cue. I will catch you guys on the next one. It's been real. Definitely. Thanks for coming through tonight. Carolyn, Mick the Pick, Shadow Black. We didn't get no Dawn tonight, but Katie definitely represented. Missy, Jaja be stopping through like we're in a corporate building and he hit the wrong floor on the elevator and he's like, oh, hey, what's up, D? All right, we gotta go. See, don't know how I got in here. Wrong floor. You know how it is. But no, that's cool. And yeah, so that's the stream. Have a good night, everyone. Yeah, take care of yourself. Be careful with those allergies. Do any remedies you need to do to keep yourself safe and happy and healthy. I'm just gonna play a video. I'll hang out in the chat. Shadow Black, you're free to give us a preview of what is to come. What is to come? Peace. What is?
It is a wood chipper.
A wood chipper. No, it's not.
Just tell us.
How about you guys read?
Oh. And the ancient cider press.
Cider press. Home food